Today on an all-new Dr. Phil. Absent dad?
You need to go see your daughter.
Or could his ex-wife?
He was crummy to her. He dumped her with no warning.
And mother-in-law?
Have you teamed up in threatening him?
We did make some threats.
Be keeping him away?
It's never been my intention to lock him out.
Oh, really? Let's look at what social services says.
You should have come see her regardless of what was happening.
Oh, crawl down off your high horse, lady. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
I hate to see people suffering, and you've heard long enough.
Stand by, Dr. Phil.
I'm going to get you the help that you need.
In 5, 4,
This is going to be a changing day in your life. This is 18-month-old Ellie. She was born 3 months premature, weighed a little over a pound, and had only a 10% chance of surviving. Now, she spent 5 months in the NICU and has been in and out of the hospital 8 times since. Ellie has a trach tube, a feeding tube, is unable to talk, and must live in a completely sterile environment. However, the problem we're focusing on today isn't Ellie's health. It's her parents who just can't seem to get along. Candace claims her ex-husband, Miguel, is an absent father who has abandoned her and their precious daughter.
Miguel is a deadbeat absentee father. Miguel has visited Ellie 2 times since he abandoned us. He will say that he's coming and then right at the last minute say, "Oh, I'm sick." Miguel uses the bad relationship between himself and my mom as a crutch to not have anything to do with Ellie. Miguel is very full of excuses. My daughter has a tracheostomy and she has a feeding tube. Miguel knows absolutely nothing about how to take care of Ellie and all of her medical needs. I believe Miguel has chosen his new wife over his disabled daughter.
Well, Miguel says, whoa, 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 that is completely untrue. He says he is desperate to see his daughter, but that he can't because Candace holds her hostage at his ex-mother-in-law's house. Now, he claims both women are to blame.
My ex-wife Candace is a vindictive, jealous, habitual liar. One of the main reasons I wasn't able to visit Ellie was because around March, Candace's mother had sent me some seriously nasty text messages telling me that under no circumstances, as long as my daughter is under her roof, that I will ever see my little girl. I took Candace to court for contempt because they were keeping me out of the house. That's why I can't make the 6-hour trip. They're vindictive enough and have been to where I could get 5 hours into my 6-hour trip and they could just change something up on me in a heartbeat to where I wouldn't be able to see her or your time's gonna be limited. They're just playing games with me. It kills me not to be with my little girl.
Well, the only thing Candace and Miguel agree on is that they disagree on everything. Just months ago, Candace claims Miguel took his desperation to a dangerous level, threatening her safety as well as their daughters.
There was one time when Ellie went into the hospital and I was continuing to keep Miguel updated as much as possible, but most of those texts or phone calls were being ignored.
After Candace told me that Ellie was in the hospital, I asked her, how is she doing? And she refused to tell me. She just said, she's at the hospital, it's bad. I was like, just let me know what her security code is if she gets admitted so I can call and talk to the hospital. She refused to give me this code. So I then contacted the hospital myself. They said, hold on, we got her in the ER. The ER then sent me to the OR, which I was freaking out thinking, did my daughter have surgery? Is she having surgery? What's going on? And then the OR basically is like, oh, no, she's on the 8th floor. I'm like, I'm Ellie's father. I'm just trying to see how she's doing. And she's like, there's no Ellie here, sir. We can't tell you anything. And at the time, I got extremely frustrated. 2 people plus Candace just confirmed that my daughter's in the hospital. And now this lady denying that my daughter even exists. I said, this is ridiculous. I am going to just sue the whole hospital for everything you guys have.
Because the secretary would not allow him to have access to her information, Miguel threatened to kill me and shoot up every nurse in the hospital if they didn't give him the GD information on his GD daughter. The nurses were on alert. Police officers were guarding the hospital.
Candace texted me, she's like, are you stupid? They told me that you were gonna come in here and shoot me in the head, and you said that explicitly, and all these kind of crazy things. The only thing I could think of is that she took, I'm gonna sue the hospital as shoot the hospital.
Those hospital threats did prove how irrational, scary, and terrorizing Miguel can be.
This is another example of my ex-wife Candace just being a complete liar and being completely vindictive against me and trying to keep me from seeing my little girl.
Yeah. So you say he's just absent, he's abandoned her.
Yes, I do. I feel like he just doesn't care about her, and if he does, he has a really terrible way of showing it.
Okay, well, the separation agreement says he can see his daughter anytime that he wants.
Right.
And you say, despite that, he has seen her twice in, what, 10 months?
Yeah, something between, let's say, April of 2013 and currently.
And the last time he saw her was 4 months ago.
Right,
He's not plugged in.
right. He's totally, he knows.
Is that
nothing.
true?
No, I'm trying to be plugged in as much as I can
Well, why aren't you?
because I try
Is
to...
your daughter, the court says you can see her. Why aren't you seeing her?
Because when I went to go down and see her, that's when her mother would send me those messages saying, you cannot
You should have
come
wanted to
see
see
her
her
daughter
regardless.
under any circumstances. There's been false accusations against my family and things of that nature, and they won't allow me to bring her other family to come see her or anything like that. And I can't take the chance of being within that home with our whole family around of other accusations of
Okay,
happening.
but this is your daughter, and you have the right to see her according to the court. So why would you react to or give your power away to somebody sending you an email? Somebody sends you a text message,
should have
says,
wanted to see her
you're a slime
regardless.
ball, I hate you, don't come around here. Well, you have a court order that says you can. Why would you not do it?
I guess I was so afraid of going down. I was trying to do the best I could to keep peace. I truly was, and that's something that I definitely regret. I regret not going down there and just knocking on the door. Even if the door was closed in my face, I should have called the police and taken it from that
You
stand.
want to talk about peace? Are you kidding me? Your idea of peace is sending text messages to me where you're screaming and cussing at me and calling me every name in the book. That is not peace. That is a flat out lie, and you know it.
Okay, well, here's what the court says that you have the right to do. This is the finding of fact. It says, quote, while Eleanor has her tracheotomy and her gastrointestinal tube, father may come to the residence of wife to visit Eleanor whenever he wishes. Wife wishes to encourage this contact and shall accommodate this visit by allowing liberal amounts of time for husband and Eleanor to spend peaceful time together. Is that happening?
No, it's not.
You're not going, and she's not allowing liberal time and peaceful time.
And my biggest issue is that peaceful time, because there's times where I'll be like, hey, can I have am I going to have a peaceful time? You know, am I going to be able to sit in a room alone with my daughter? And she's like, there are no private rooms in this house.
Why would you sit in a room with a child you don't know how to take care of? Every time you've been in the hospital with her, you can't even change her diaper.
They haven't allowed me to change the
maybe
diaper.
the reason he doesn't know is because you've locked him out.
It's never been my intention to lock him out.
Oh, really? On that note, we need to take a break. Next, I want to talk about what the social worker said really went down at the hospital.
Little video of
You
my
need
daughter
to
walking
man
through
up
the
and go see your daughter. I
Thank
don't care what the hell somebody says.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, crawl down off your high horse, lady.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil. A Dr. Phil milestone.
2,000 shows!
Find out what happened to Todd from Survivor.
I was clearly very drunk.
You had no recollection of being on the show.
The man behind the Monte Teo hoax.
You hit rock bottom.
I had to face a lot of demons.
The 200-pound 4-year-old.
I've been told I won't recognize him.
Unbelievable updates.
I can't thank you enough.
Here's to 2,000 shows.
That's tomorrow.
The social worker allegedly blamed her, you, for not giving your ex-husband the patient's FIN number
Sleep.
so he can get medical updates from the staff. Mom was adamant that she is not going to leave patient's room under any circumstances. Social worker reiterated to Mom that both have shared custody and he is allowed to visit separately given their volatile history. Candace advised hospital security will be contacted should she agree not to leave the room, and security will have her escorted. This mom repeated numerous times that she will not leave the room and let the dad have private visits with the patient. Hospital security will be notified upon dad's arrival, He has allowed the patient's FIN number that Mom hesitantly agreed. Mom said she felt it is unfair that patient's dad be allowed to have private visits with his daughter.
Okay, can I explain a little bit of that?
You need to, yes, because that to me sounds like you are being highly obstructionistic.
That makes me sound crazy. But
And in fact, you wanted a new social worker because this one didn't agree with you.
The problem was when he contacted me for the FIN number, it was 4:30 in the morning. My daughter had had a really rough night. We were in the emergency room for 16 hours.
She texted me at 2 o'clock in the
I
morning.
was
telling me
letting
my
him
daughter's in the
know
hospital.
what was going on via text
Why not
message.
give him the number?
Because I was asleep.
You weren't asleep during your meetings with the social worker, were you?
No, I was not. I was not.
Then why were you continuing to say that her father does not even have the right to have the access number to get medical updates on his daughter?
In hindsight, I should have just given it to him. You're right. I will own that. I will say that I should have given it to him.
Then why did you want to fire this social worker? Because she's telling you what you don't want to hear.
I have had a really rough history with that social worker. This is one that has terrorized me in different ways, and I know that probably just seems like I'm just calling people out and calling people crazy and not owning it.
So you were terrorized by a social worker?
Yes. She threatened to call social service. She threatened to call DHS on me because my daughter spent a lot of time in the hospital for trach infections, and she was saying that I was actually making her sick. I never was making my daughter sick. And so this social worker has called me names and accused me of things that were not true. Now,
She's called you names. What has she called you?
She's called me a bad mother, and I'm one that tries to cause problems between the nurses and the doctors, and
Those sound like clinical observations, not names.
But she doesn't have the right to make clinical observations. She doesn't have a medical degree.
Well, she's licensed to make those observations and assigned to the case.
All I know
So
is
what is she supposed to do?
she's supposed to, the job of a social worker is to make sure you have help with aftercare. You have to have your supplies and stuff delivered. They're the ones that restart.
Where did you read that that's the job of the social worker?
Because I've spent a lot of time in the hospital with my daughter. I mean, I pretty much know things that they're supposed to be doing, and doctors have even told me
So
that
you
that's not her
understand
job.
what the congressional mandate is for the Licensing
Well,
Act
no,
of social workers?
I don't understand what the congressional mandate is, but I do understand what doctors have told me when they've said that it's not her place to make those kinds of calls.
Really? Let's see if you've been cooperative here.
I haven't been. I'm not as much as I should.
On May 4th of 13, you write to Miguel, "We hit a milestone tonight. You couldn't even care less." Miguel says, "Just woke up. What is the milestone?" Candace, laugh out loud. "Oh, you're going to act like you care this morning? Thought you had a trip with your precious Ugg this weekend." Now, who would Ugg be?
His wife. She has a name. I know. She has a name.
Miguel, what's the milestone, Candace? How is our daughter doing? You respond, "You'd know if you hadn't ditched her." Candace, does it not bother you a tiny bit that our daughter is trying to crawl today and you're not here to see it? Sad, Miguel, absolutely sad. Miguel says, "So that's the milestone that you're telling me about?" Candace, "No, it isn't. This is new. Doesn't matter. You're not here to see it."
She acts like I don't care about my little girl.
You
My
need
daughter
to
walking
man
would be
up and go
wonderful.
see your daughter. I
Thank
don't care what the hell somebody's saying to you.
Thank you. It does not matter what I say. You should have come see her regardless of what was happening.
Oh, crawl down off your high horse, lady. You set him up for failure.
I did.
And then you criticize him when you win. It sounds to me like you are a woman scorned.
In ways,
It sounds
yes.
to me that you are pissed off that he has moved on
Oh, no.
and that you are using your daughter as a pawn in order to get back at him.
No, it has nothing to do with the fact that he's moved on.
Oh, that's why you call her Ugg instead
No.
of Cynthia?
Because,
I mean, what are we, 2 years old?
yeah, you're right. But at this point in time, currently, I do not
But you still think she's a skank and a whore and white trash and all
No,
the
no,
other
those
things.
were not my words.
Yeah.
I didn't say those words.
Yes, some of those came from your mother.
Yes, some of those,
At
most.
least we've got somebody mature here. Coming up, we're going to meet the woman Miguel says is the mastermind behind Candace's vindictive motives. It's been 6 months since Miguel has seen his ex-mother-in-law, but he's going to see her next.
Leah sent a lot of texts to Candace on the day of our wedding. She said, "You're becoming a N-word lover."
I told Miguel, I said, "I've called you plenty of things, a stupid punk, a mama's boy, a liar, a cheater, but I have never called you the N-word."
When we were together, Miguel would control all of our finances. Miguel would question me about where I went, how long I was there, who I was with. At one point, he would take my phone with him to work because he was afraid that I would have contact with my family. Miguel had me convinced that my mom would tear us apart, that she was toxic for me. My mom is not controlling me. Miguel is the controlling one.
Miguel hasn't seen his ex-mother-in-law in 6 months. He says she's so toxic, her own daughter cut ties with her while they were married. Take a look.
Leah sent a lot of texts to Candace on the day of our wedding, basically telling her that you're making a huge mistake, he's terrible for you. She said a lot of things like, "You're becoming a N-word lover."
That is a lie, and he knows it. He brought that up to me and told me that I called his father the N-word and that I called him the N-word. I told him, I said, "I've called you plenty of things, a stupid punk, a mama's boy, a liar, a cheater, but I have never called you the N-word."
Candace's mother, Leah, is a manipulator, a vindictive person, someone who always has to have drama in her life.
Miguel has a very bad temper. He will start to scream and cuss and immediately start calling names. Miguel has called me the word, an B, a whore, a slut, stupid, insignificant, and a loser. Miguel told me he didn't want to sit at the same table with me because he said that I was fat and disgusting.
I don't believe I ever called her overweight, but gross and disgusting is very possible.
On the outside, Miguel appears very sweet and charming, but in reality, he is a very skilled liar.
Well, Leah, thanks for joining us. Did you want her to marry him?
No, I did not.
Were you happy when she did?
No, I was not.
Okay. Have you teamed up with her in threatening him and trying to keep him away from seeing his child?
We did make some threats at the beginning, but we have really moved so far past that.
Leah, you even come close to this house, I will have you arrested. Do you understand, you stupid, disgusting punk? And then you perch up here and say, he won't come see his daughter.
But we've tried to go past that, is what I'm trying to say. This
All of
was
it was
right
still
after
so
the
new at that
divorce.
point.
We were all so angry at the time, but we've tried to move past that. But he still won't come see her. He still acts like she doesn't exist.
You have called Miguel punk, trash, deadbeat, stupid, idiot, loser, mama's boy, ignorant, and crybaby. The only good thing you've ever done was supply a tiny piece of DNA.
We're feeling so sorry for
Then
you.
you
know,
sent
really.
a text message that referred to Ugg, is it? Which I like to call Cynthia. Calling her cheap, trashy witch, picked up on the streets, tramp, and white trash.
Well, I mean, seriously, she walked in and stole my daughter's husband from her. I mean, I was mad. I'm not denying that for a minute. I was mad as a hornet.
Why is it okay for him to call me on the phone and say these nasty things to me, but it's somehow not okay for us to come back?
He dumped her at my house with no warning, abandoned her and the baby with no warning, and then took up with somebody that he had been talking
No
to
warning.
for
There
her.
was a complete
talking
plan of her
for
to
who?
spend time
That
at
is
your
in your
house.
head, and you know it. And then before we knew it, he was engaged again. So you tell me that you hadn't already had it planned to take up with somebody else.
Not at all.
Oh my gosh.
No, I definitely
Now's the
didn't.
only time you have a chance to be honest. Please do
Yeah,
that.
please do.
I've been nothing but honest from the whole get-go.
Now try it. Maybe it'll get contagious.
Right, Right from
We're the ones that takes care of that baby day in and day out. I don't know why everybody's acting like that it's our fault, all our fault.
Who's everybody?
Every time he says something, they applaud like he's some great speaker.
This isn't an election. This is just a conversation. I mean, come on, you've got to own the fact. Look, you're the adult here, right?
I own every stupid thing I did. I know how immature and stupid and angry I was.
Why did you do that?
Because I was mad. She's my daughter.
Well, there's one more player in this mix. We might as well get her out here. Up next, for the first time, Candace will meet the woman she suspects was cheating with her ex-husband while they were still married. The woman she refers to as Ugg. After the break.
Not anymore. I'm very afraid that Cynthia is an alcoholic.
Cynthia's trash. I think anybody that purposely goes in and messes up somebody's marriage, what else are you going to call them?
My relationship with Miguel is perfect, except for the issues with Candace and her mother. They are teenagers.
I've never met Miguel's new wife, Cynthia. I've seen her from a distance and seen pictures of her. I've seen many photos of Cynthia drinking alcohol. I don't like to judge like that, but I do believe she might at least have a drinking problem.
I'm very afraid that Cynthia is an alcoholic.
Cynthia appears to me as somebody who hasn't grown up, somebody who is selfish, who wants what doesn't belong to her. Cynthia appears to me as somebody who might just be as mean and vindictive as Miguel is.
My nickname for Cynthia is, I believe she is a big word.
I think she's trash. I think anybody that purposely goes in and messes up somebody's marriage, what else are you going to call them? After Miguel dumped Candace and Ellie, we saw Facebook pictures and posts of Cynthia and Miguel within a matter of weeks. Miguel's in a relationship with Cynthia, hugging each other and sharing their holidays. It's disgusting. I wanted to slap his head off, and I wanted to slap her head off too. Cynthia stole my daughter's husband. I think Cynthia would love to steal Ellie.
My biggest issue with Cynthia is not so much that she's with Miguel. I believe that she has inserted herself into Ellie's life and trying to be a step-parent to a child she doesn't know. I just don't want to bring a stranger like that around my daughter.
Leah, you had said earlier that all of this name-calling and immaturity and want to slap their heads off and everything was early on when you were really upset, but that you had matured through that.
I know.
We taped this yesterday.
I know. I was thinking that while I was saying it. I thought I wasn't mad at him.
I'm just saying.
This is a totally different situation, though.
Yeah, right, okay. Cynthia says that she has been nothing but nice and can't believe the childish behavior and horrible harassment she's received from people she doesn't even know. Take a look.
I went on my first date with Miguel on February 4th. And then 5 months later, we got married. I love it. It's the most beautiful ring I've ever seen. My relationship with Miguel is perfect, except for the issues with Candace and her mother. Candace and her mother act like they're teenagers, sending mean text messages and threats. They are needlessly malicious. Miguel's ex-wife, Candace, is a horrible person. If you took all of the bad things you could think of and wrapped them into one person, that's how I see her. Early on in my relationship with Miguel, Candace was messaging me, telling me that Miguel was a bad person and that I needed to leave him. On Facebook, if you're not friends with someone, you have to pay money to send them a message. So not only did she go out of her way to message me, but she actually paid to do that. Candace and her mother are very disrespectful of my position as Miguel's wife and as Ellie's stepmother. I love Ellie. Even though Candace tries to keep Miguel away from Ellie, Miguel and I are going to do everything we can to constantly pursue his right to see his child.
Well, thank you for being here.
Hey, you're welcome.
I appreciate it. This is Leah.
Oh, nice to meet you.
And this is Candace.
It's nice to meet you too, Candace.
Hello.
And, you know, they're sitting there talking about the things that we've said. She said some things that she doesn't know anything about. She doesn't know anything about us, except what he's told her.
Well,
and
he
might be a little biased.
I've seen things that you've written to him.
Why don't you tell them when I sent that text message? It's days after you dumped my daughter.
So why are you acting like it's a daily thing? Why are you sitting there acting like it's a daily thing? Like
Whoa,
we're
whoa,
harassing
whoa, wait a
y'all?
minute. She just got here. What do you mean sitting there acting like?
talking about on the
how
thing.
is she acting like anything? She's just sitting there.
I'm talking about on. She just said
Why
that
is
we
it not
harassed
okay
her.
for us to be upset?
She just said that we've been harassing
sorry?
her. I've never said one word to you.
Can you please just explain to me why it's not okay for me to be upset?
Because you have a daughter that's getting caught in the crossfire between your immature exchanges with your husband. That's why.
It's not, but
No, there's no but. You said, tell me why it's not okay for me to get upset. I said, because your daughter's paying the price. She's caught in a crossfire between your sophomoric behavior with your husband and Cynthia.
That's why we wanted to do this, because it's time it stopped.
because here's the
That's
thing.
what I'm trying. You look like you don't believe me. It's absolutely the truth. Dr. Phil, I've waited all my life to meet you. I want your help. I seriously do. And it's not all our fault.
I'm not saying it is.
I legitimately just want to.
You heard me say straight up that he needs to man up, not be intimidated by your ridiculous threats and name calling.
Exactly. I know that that was not the right thing to do. And Ellie means more to us than I can even put into words. I don't want her to get to the point old enough that she sees this going on. I want us to make sure
Well,
we
let me
fix
ask you a
it
question.
first.
How would you feel if he had Ellie and was with his family and locked you out and threatened you if you came around? How would you feel about that?
Dr. Phil,
Heartbroken.
I have thought about that. It would break my heart. I would want to die if that happened. I don't want that for them. I have felt sorry for his mother because she doesn't get to be the. I know you might not believe it, but it's the truth. I feel sorry that she doesn't get to be part of Ellie's life.
You guys accused his mom of trying to kill Ellie.
She turned the oxygen off. What would you call it?
It was on when I walked off, when I walked out of the room, and it was off
she
when I
admitted
came
it.
back
She
in.
said
You
she
put
did it.
you
She
put
turned off the
pieces together.
oxygen.
Thank you.
Why else would be her
if
reason?
that was the case, though, why wouldn't you call the police?
Because we couldn't prove it.
Why wasn't
There was no way to prove it. What were we gonna do?
Or believe me, we would have.
So you
No,
can't talk about something you don't know because you weren't there. Thank you.
Are you still in love with Miguel?
God, no. Not at all.
Candace says that she has gone out of her way to include Miguel in his daughter's life. So does he know the latest information about his daughter? We'll find out after the break.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil. The 2000th show with Todd from Survivor
I was clearly drunk.
and many more unbelievable updates.
Let's see who Judy is with today.
A must-watch all-new Dr. Phil. That's tomorrow.
The last time I visited my daughter, she was starting to make noises with her mouth, make little pops, and stand up on her own by pulling herself up. But I have not seen a single video or even a text message with information of what she is capable of doing right now. I have no idea whether Ellie can walk. I have seen her crawl across the bed, so I'm pretty sure she's scurrying around the floor, but anything past that, I have no idea.
Miguel says part of the reason he's here today is to find out how his medically disabled daughter is doing. He hasn't seen her in 4 months and blames his ex, Candace, for keeping him away. Candace says, hey, I have gone out of my way to be accommodating to Miguel, but he's just too wrapped up in his new life with his new wife.
Everything that we're saying now needs to be said. I have lots of questions that I feel need to be answered,
Which are?
such as, how long have you actually been with Cynthia?
None of your business.
None of her business. She was
But if I
married.
feel like
You're divorced.
he was cheating on me, why shouldn't I know that?
What does that have to do with your child? You are now into co-parenting. See, the relationship didn't work. You got a divorce.
Because he
right?
dumped her.
But that's over.
I know.
This is not history class. This is Dr. Phil. History class is happening over at the high school. This is now. We're here. So we're here talking about the child, and you say you want to know if he cheated on you. I don't. Did he cheat on her? I don't know. He says no.
No cheating.
There was no
ever.
cheating. They say no cheating. One of the first things I ask you is that you seem like a woman scorned, and you said, oh, yeah. I
In
can play
ways
that back.
I am, but not in ways I am not because they're together. It has nothing to do with that.
So you're scorned by someone else?
No. I'm scorned because of the way he's treated me, and he's acting like it's all my fault. It's not all my fault, because it takes two to tango, doesn't it? He wasn't trying to come see her, but I wasn't necessarily trying to let him. It just doesn't make sense how this all seems like it's my fault.
Nobody said it's your fault. I thought that the part about whether you were a good wife and husband was pretty much resolved with a divorce. That you decided that wasn't working. And maybe he's a crummy husband. Maybe
He's a great husband.
He was crummy to her.
Maybe he has grown up. Maybe he will be a better husband to you than he was to me. But please do not sit there and act like what I went through didn't happen, because it did. I was there, you weren't, that I know of.
I've never met someone as mean as you.
She is not mean. She's wonderful. And you married somebody way meaner than she is.
I think I would have figured that out by now.
Easy now, easy now.
He went running through the house one
But
night when I was
we
there
being-
screaming and cussing me out like I was a dog under his
They were
feet.
taking my daughter away when she left
You
the
are
first
lying.
time.
She, the
I'm not
only
gonna
thing
talk to him
she,
anymore. He's lying.
The only thing she said that night that you got upset about was the fact that she said, I came to see you and Ellie.
That
Who
was
else did
then,
she come
this
to
is
see?
now. If you love your daughter, and I know you do, then you need to decide that you want to work on getting past all of this anger and bitterness and co-parent actively. And there is no excuse, not drive time, not feelings of tension or stress or anything else that should be a high enough mountain or a thick enough wall to keep you from being actively involved in your daughter's life. Right. And I think you do have a lot of unresolved conflict here, and I very much want to get you some help with that.
I would love that.
Now, Candace sent us some video of Ellie that you haven't seen. I wanted to give Miguel an opportunity to see his daughter in one of her most recent milestones. Here you go.
I miss my baby. That was at therapy. She gets therapy once a week with speech and physical and occupational.
So there you go. She was a pound.
1 pound 9 ounces, 13 inches
1
long.
pound 9 ounces at birth.
Her body was the length of my hand, and her little limbs would just hang off.
And she has fought since the day she was born. That's why it's important that we get this worked
She doesn't
out.
deserve this that we have, Miguel. We have to get past this.
I completely agree.
I want to get past it. I do.
Well, listen, I am going to get you some help and support. Fair enough? Okay, next, it's been 10 years since this young man nearly stole my car. He was a guest I will never forget. And he's here and cannot wait to see how he's doing. We'll meet him right after the break. We can't do this show without you, our studio audience.
If you're going to be in the Los Angeles area and you would like free tickets, go to drphil.com and click on Be in the Audience.
Because we have a lot of fun here, don't we? Or you can call 323-461-PHIL. Today's show has a little extra sentimental value to me because it is my 1,999th show. That's right. That means tomorrow is the big one, and it is full of surprises and updates from our most talked about guests over the past 12 years. But there have been so many memorable moments, there was no way they could all fit in one show, so I figured I'll start a day early. When I first met Ryan 11 years ago, he was only 8 years old and bravely battling leukemia. This little boy not only stole my heart, but also nearly stole my car. Take a look.
Dear Dr. Phil, my name is Ryan. I am 8 years old. I have leukemia, and it would be a dream come true to meet you in person.
You were telling me you like fast cars?
Yeah.
You and I are going to go out the back door, and I got a Formula One Ferrari out in the parking lot. Are you ready?
Yeah.
We'll be back, maybe.
car was the best part of it all. It was awesome. Man, you're a crazy driver. Dr. Phil's show made me feel so much better. I almost felt like I wasn't on chemo.
Well, joining me is Ryan's mother, Roxanne. Now, Ryan is celebrating 8 years of being cancer-free, correct?
Yes.
Oh, how great is that? Ryan is here also. Ryan, come on out. So good to see you. So good to see you. So how's life for you, friend?
Just turned 18, graduated high school.
Wow. That's just great.
Yeah.
Now, Ryan made such an impression on me 11 years ago that I framed a photo of him, and it's hanging in a very special place in the studio. And that's a picture of you and I in my Ferrari 360 Spider, and I hope you've never told your mother how fast we went. I valued that so much, so I made a copy of that for you. And I hope you'll hang that in your house. We have partnered again with our friends at Expedia and Marriott for a week-long stay at the beautiful 4-star Waikiki Beach Marriott. Okay? All right. It's good to see you. Thanks so much. All right. My next guest, Tim, enraged viewers this year when he said in reference to his adopted son, Adam, I wish we actually drove past the hospital that day, went to the Humane Society and picked up a couple of strays instead. Take a look.
My son, Adam, is self-destructing before my very eyes.
After Adam's drug taking, his violent behavior, and the DUIs, we said no more.
You say he's an animal that belongs in a cage.
Absolutely.
I pulled a knife on my dad because I couldn't get their attention in any other way.
I regret the day that we adopted Adam.
Just 6 days ago, they had to bail him out of jail due to a felony arrest just so they could be here today. Okay, Adam, you just came out and you threw a pill bottle at your mother.
You said that you should have just drove past the hospital.
You know something, Adam?
That makes me feel really good.
I think you need help with drugs and alcohol. This is a gift from us to you.
You do your part, we'll do ours.
Actions speak louder than words.
Well, Tim, Adam, and Karen are here, and boy, how things have changed for them. So, Tim, talk to me here.
Wow. Well,
different world?
I wish there was something else other than just thank you. I can say to really thank you, truly, that what you've created for us.
Well,
Got him
I
back.
appreciate your willingness to come here. Mom, does it feel different?
It feels wonderful. We have our son back.
And they tell me that you have worked very hard and very sincerely in everything that you've been about down there.
I just wanted to say thank you to you, Ben, and Origins. You guys saved my life.
I'm glad to hear that. And Ben, congratulations to you. And again, thank you for all the work that you do. Also, a very special thank you to OnSite for helping this family. Next, her wedding day was a disaster when she fainted and blacked out right before saying, I do. And it was all caught on tape. And they redid their wedding right here on this stage. Find out how they're doing 10 years later. Did it stick? We'll find out after the break. Stop justifying your inactivity and avoiding the challenge of change. For help getting started, go to drphil.com for 11 seasons of advice, articles, and exclusive videos you won't find anywhere else. Plus, sign up for the Dr. Phil community to share your story and find support from others. All on drphil.com.
My wedding day was a complete nightmare. I blacked out, collapsed, and I fainted.
Crystal says she's ready to conquer her fear of walking down the aisle once and for all.
Dr. Phil gave us a chance to redo our wedding on television. I was a little bit nervous.
Dr. Phil gave her some pointers to help her out.
He told me just to relax and take deep breaths.
Crystal, do you still take Brent to be your wedded husband?
I do.
Then you may kiss the bride.
We've been married for 10 years, and we have 2 wonderful little boys.
Dr. Phil, thank you for letting us renew our vows. It was a really special moment.
That's great. Well, Today's updates are just the tip of the iceberg, and tomorrow it is show number 2,000. The entire audience will be full of past guests. We are bringing them in from everywhere. And you'll hear updates from the biggest news stories from over the last 12 years. From what's going on with Casey Anthony to how the voice of Manti Te'o, catfish hoax, Renaya Tuiasosopo, is handling life out of the spotlight. We'll find out how Todd Herzog, who went from winning Survivor China to barely being able to walk on this stage, is doing. Did he stay in treatment? Is he sober? We'll also update the most rebellious teens ever. Did they manage to turn their lives around? There will be updates on the most controlling spouses and in-laws ever. Yeah, you guessed it. Khaloud will be here. Plus, you at home will have a chance to win amazing prizes and vacations. You won't want to miss it. Now, also, I'm proud to announce that in 3 days, it is the live launch of Robin McGraw Revelation, Robin's own purpose-driven lifestyle brand. She will be premiering her skincare line on HSN's Beauty Report Thursday, April 10th at 7 p.m. Eastern, followed by multiple live appearances on Friday, April 11th. Also, Robin plans to make a special announcement on HSN regarding her foundation, When Georgia Smiled. Now, for a complete show schedule, you can visit hsn.com, keyword Robin McGraw. How excited are you?
Oh, I am so excited. I can't believe it's almost here. I have waited 3 years to launch Robin McGraw Revelation, and to be able to do it exclusively with HSN is so exciting.
And
yes.
it is, and it's so much fun. It's so much fun that When Georgia Smiled is going to be part of all of this.
Oh, I have a beautiful, beautiful announcement to make for the foundation.
Yeah, and When Georgia Smiled is Robin's foundation that is devoted to helping women that are victims of domestic violence. Yes. And she's very active in that arena, and is going to be talking about it tomorrow. So we are excited for you.
So happy.
I want to thank all of my guests today, and a special thanks to our medical team at Doctor On Demand for assisting some of my team in preparation for the show. If you at home want to have your own Doctor On Demand, an app that Jay and I have created, go to Google Play or App Store, and you can download the Doctor On Demand app, click your smartphone, and you're eyeball to eyeball with a doc. Don't even have to leave your home. We'll see you next time. Thanks.